You've just accessed Hardware is Forever, your source for the expert insights, ideas, and innovations you need to do more in the electronics manufacturing industry. From optimization to operations, join us as we put the pieces together for a better approach to manufacturing. Let's go.
This is Hardware is Forever. I am Chris Milton. Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech. And Jay, we have reached the peak of the mountain where HMLV is concerned in our series anyway. And I think that there's an opportunity to talk a little bit about what is the future of HMLV, but I kind of want to go backwards. I mentioned this in the last episode. I can remember early in this series, sometimes your answer was, I don't know, I'm figuring this out. And that's still true, I'm sure, because you're a student of all the things. But how has your own, expertise or command of this situation informed how you're approaching it at Amtech? Are you just knowing more and more, and so it gets better and better?
Yeah, I think as you talk about it, you ruminate a little bit more, and then it gives you those aha moments. It's like, okay, I talked about it, I created some structure about it, did some analysis on the approach, and this little thing that was bothering us or we couldn't get around, we've solved that now. So it just helps, it just helps me understand and solidify what the approach should be to our manufacturing shop floor.
And we've talked about iteration and innovation. We've talked about obsolescence and things like this. What's next? What's on the horizon? What's the future of HMLV from where you sit? What are you seeing that's really interesting?
I think the level. The hardest thing about HMLV is you don't have the resources to remove all of the failure modes because it takes a lot of technical and financial resources to do that. I think what's happening and will continue to happen is that we are going to start getting AI-enabled optimization for fixturing, for processes, for inspection throughout the whole manufacturing process as a whole. And I think that's going to allow us to really drive down deeper to help us automate things. Like we can get a cobot, or we can get a 6-axis robot, or even a gantry robot to help us do these, XYZ things. But to launch it, to train it, to optimize it, to iterate it, it takes a lot of resources. And I think with AI coming forward, there's going to be a lot of opportunity to implement those things in a high mix, low volume type of environment, which will make it more accessible to automate and bring solutions into these fringe areas across industries everywhere that we thought we were not going to be able to automate. And one of those things is even power consumption. We have all these smart thermostats out there. We were able to develop as humanity, we were able to develop technology that for a particular price point, we're able to put these smart thermostats in that give us the quality of environment that we require at unbelievable costs because we're able to collect data and analyze it. I think that type of innovation with the help of AI is going to be trickling down to the shop floor a little bit more. And again, give that access to people to innovate and solve different things that we thought could not get solved.
Do you think that, I have an analogy. This morning, I have smart everything in my office, and I was trying to just turn on a light. And I couldn't do it because there was a breakdown in some hub or something. And I thought, this is so dumb. When it doesn't work, I can't even flip on a light switch. What risks get introduced when we're introducing AI, which so much of what you've discussed is data driven. We're analyzing this to improve this and optimize that. And that's AI's like sweet spot. But what risks do you think become more prevalent or more realized, not from AI necessarily, but just from these emerging technologies that can make it so much easier or more efficient, but also what's the flip side?
Well, I think that's always, when it comes to innovation, when it comes to paradigm shifts, that's always the case. Like you and I eat food every single day, correct?
Yes.
When was the last time you farmed?
Right.
I cannot farm to grow enough food to support my family. However, you see it as a risk. I don't have a horse in my garage in case I run out of gas. Like, I just don't have it.
Great analogies.
So, as we grow and as we evolve, we'll just create an infrastructure that supports that then.
How are the customers changing in light of all this stuff? Where are they getting more sophisticated, or where are they getting less tolerant of? Where are their expectations growing? What's happening there?
I think they're learning that they can get a lot more out of the supply chain. Before it wasn't like I can get whatever I want in 2 days. Now, if I don't get what I want in 2 days, if I get what I want in 3 days and not 2 days, I scratch my head. It's like, no, I'm just going to go for the 2-day option, because that's become the new standard. And I think it makes us all better. So customer experiences should change. Customer standards should evolve. So then we all get better. Like, if we don't raise our standards, are we progressing? And then, forget about the economic advantages of innovation and progress and all that kind of stuff. But, human beings, we're problem solvers. We're creators. We are the ones who go into the frontier. So, and we blaze new trails. That's the human condition. So, like, if we don't embrace it, then what are we doing?
Yeah, I like that. We talk about Deming a lot. He comes up a lot in our processes, and that was a series that we did some time ago. What stands out in this? I don't know, in any of the conversations that we've had around HMLV or its connection to other things that we've had. Can you pinpoint moments or conversations or details that have grown with you or that have continued to evolve as you've been working on these things?
Yeah, I think some things that Deming did talk about, everything that Deming talks about is relevant. However, how it's implemented is different. Deming used to say you can't inspect your way into quality. That is true, but now you can control it more with AI. I mean, you can put a visual inspection point that takes seconds to tell you whether it's go or no go. And it's not subjective anymore. It's completely objective. So I think if Deming could evolve his thoughts today, can somebody whoever the next Deming is,
which could be Jay Patel, but okay.
No, it's not Jay Patel. No, whoever the next Deming is who creates these principles, I think we'll have another set of tools to be able to implement the best practices. But the fundamentals are the fundamentals. And Deming lays out a lot of different fundamentals that are required. Training, somebody's going to have to get trained. Somebody's going to have to set it up. Somebody's going to have to poke-yoke it properly. It does end up with leadership. But now I think leadership has another tool in their tool belt that they can use to be able to execute on best of class, innovative manufacturing and products. Not only manufacturing, but products as well.
As you get better and better or more immersed or experienced with HMLV, how are your expectations changing of your leadership team around you and of the team at Amtech who are doing the good and hard work all day? How are your expectations of those people changing?
I think the expectations from everybody is you don't have to do it the hard way anymore. Like, you just don't have to grunt through it. Like, we have solutions. Let's speak up. Let's identify them, and let's get a solution in place to make life better for everybody. Let's put solutions in place so that we can play the game of business, so we can play the game of innovation. And I think that's the expectations we have now. Like, with all these, and I would love for you to coin this and make it a thing, and one of those quotes that go up everywhere. But the internet democratized information. AI is democratizing expertise. And now that we have expertise just a question away from us, like, what's going to hold us back? And I think that's where the future of HMLV is. It's like those resources are available to us now. And so we just have to start integrating it a little bit more and making our processes better.
What's the future of Amtech where this stuff is concerned? What do you see 5, 3, 1 year down the road?
So, we don't want to be, we discussed, just to be very clear with you, we discussed high mix, low volume, and that's where we started out with that. I think leveraging the lessons and the best practice for high mix, low volume, we are working towards, and we will be successfully working towards going to the larger volume, high volume assemblies right now and programs. But I think, when we're talking about Deming and the fundamentals, the approach is the same. We need to understand the basics. And now we need to understand what tools we have that we've learned from the high mix, low volume world and implement them in the higher volume world for Amtech. And some lessons we learned may not be applicable for the higher volume, but some of the lessons that we did learn may give us a competitive advantage. So we're going to take what we've learned and use it to, blaze the next trail.
That makes sense. If you think about the low volume, if we can get really good at that, you naturally start to see opportunities for, well, hang on, we could open this up. We could widen this. We've gotten pretty good at this, or we can see the potential of this. In some ways, it almost, I don't know, how strong are you there as a leading indicator of how strong you could be, for the bigger, more robust stuff. And it sounds like, I don't know, is that a reality that you recognize?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're able to take a lot of our lessons learned and port it over to high mix, mid or high volume. And when the customer says, like, how did you figure out how to do this? I said, well, because we had to do it 1,000 times somewhere else. So we figured out how to do it over here.
Which is, it's interesting as we're talking about this. Some time ago, there was value placed on, well, how hard did you work on this? Or how many hours did you spend on this? And that was the barometer for, well, then it must have been pretty good. And very quickly and appropriately, it has changed to how fast can you get this done? How good can it be while also hitting these standards? You talked about it. If I can't get it in 2 days, I'm not interested. That's a huge business change that I don't know that every business has figured out yet,
Yeah. And that's not a standard that we live by, but that's a standard that's just illustrative of the human psychology. Is once a standard shifts, the standard shifts.
That's true. I mean, Amazon drops a thing off by tomorrow morning. And so now we have an expectation that is way different than, I don't know what, order this thing on TV and it'll be there in 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech. This has been a fascinating series. I've enjoyed it. I think we should put this all together in some sort of a something, because it's just a really valuable pile of resources to explore this. Thanks, Jay. Thanks for being such a leader in this space, which you're always self-effacing with that, but I think you are. I think this is an interesting place. You've got a sweet spot where you are really a voice of interest in this stuff, and I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers and followers. Consider becoming one today wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Hardware is Forever is designed, tested, engineered, and built by the manufacturing experts at Amtech. Learn more and let us help you envision your next project with a free Design for Manufacturing assessment at buildamtech.com/DFM.